Another sign of the times is, this is from an Ad Age article by Janine Poggi. I think that's how she says her name. The San Francisco ad agency, Traction, broke its lease last week because they said they don't need it. They don't need the space anymore. They're going to work indefinitely for the foreseeable future. And that's, the COVID situation has had a horrific impact on the advertising industry. And so they're closing their office and they're shifting to everybody being at home. And the co-founder of the company is Adam Kleinberg. And he said, we decided we just don't need the office space. And he said the agency did not miss a beat. They got 6 new clients in 2020. And he said they have tools that they're using. One of them is Miro, a virtual whiteboard that lets the staff collaborate and brainstorm in real time. And, given the changes in the industry, the agency had before COVID transitioned into more of a consulting format. And he says that's working for them. It's working for their clients. And we're going to see a lot more of this, a lot more of people not going back. And it's going to have, I think, the biggest impact on people starting their careers, coming out of school, starting their careers, trying to work their way into the field, and not having that sort of social thing and that mentoring thing and the coffee and the lunch and all of that. Virtual cocktails are nice, but they're not the same as going out for a beer. And so there will be changes, but, better and better technology is going to make working from home better and better.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things. This is another one. I think this particular story is going to stretch out longer than we intended it to, because there's a lot of things to talk about there. But it's like that what you said about the people entering the workforce. You learn to be, a professional by being in the environment of being a professional, right?
Absolutely.
And I don't think that it's not something I thought about until you brought it up, but I don't know how you replace that with a virtual environment. I don't know how that works. I don't think it works as well, is my guess.
It can't, it just can't. I mean, that part of it is so important. And you kind of learn how people speak diplomatically. You kind of learn what's allowed and what's not. You learn from the people, you want to hang around in any part of your life with the people who are what you want to be. And so when you do that in a work environment, it's how you grow. And so it will be very interesting to see how this, but there's also another element. You live in a suburb. I live in a small New York apartment, but a lot of people live in tiny studios, or they live with roommates, or they have kids, and, it's hard. So people are going to have to find ways to deal with that. And nonetheless, the idea of commuting, the idea of being exposed to, illness and death is not going to make people rush back into office space, especially now that they're talking about air conditioning spreading the virus.
Yeah, well, I just started doing in face-to-face meetings with a limited number of clients, and in specific conditions. But I would not go to meet somebody in downtown Minneapolis or St. Paul in a high-rise, in a skyscraper, in a closed environment where there's a ton of people sitting with their air,
with the windows hermetically sealed. No,
so there's
I'm not going to do it.
The other aspect of this is so there's that, and so I spoke with a woman at a global financial technology company who has been working from home exclusively since this began. And she said, the leadership of the company is stunned at how easily they transition to a completely digital workforce. Now it's a profession, it is an industry that can do that, because they have the technical expertise to do it, but also it's an information age company. It's not manufacturing. It's not,
Well, exactly. And my sister is an economist, and she works for a large brokerage house, and they are working remotely because they can, because everybody basically is able to communicate the way we're doing it right now, and they're all, pretty much head down doing their specific area but yeah, if you're doing something where you're making something, that makes it a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
So
not one more thought. I told you
Okay.
this is going to be a long one.
Okay, go ahead, David. Go ahead.
So the other thing that this story brought up was, I'm convinced, I've been saying for years that once a company gets like 150 people or more, you need to split it, cut it in half. Just
Absolutely.
cut it in half. So that there's only the fewer an amount of people, the more accountability there is in an organization. And I've worked in huge corporations and I've worked in small agencies, and there are a hell of a lot of places for people to hide from accountability in huge organizations. And so what one of the effects might be is that there may be more accountability now that more people are working isolated from their colleagues, where they know the politics of how to get away with shit, or not be accountable to stuff.
That's definitely a part of it. And my sister was saying that at the beginning, somebody would call you every day, say, what are you going to be doing today? But now everybody's doing their thing and it's working.